Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Center for Spiritual Living Charlotte. Today, I'm your host, Alan, and we're glad you're here today on our fantastic finale for Black History Month and for February. So we honor your presence, whether this is your first time or if you keep coming back. We honor your presence for being in our community. Now, today's talk title is Remembrance Instead of Improvement. Remember, it's all about remembering that we're not broken. We already whole just the way we are. I know sometimes I tend to forget that. And I brought a quote to go on today's message. Nothing is more consuming or more illogical than the desire for remembrance. And that is a quote by Ellen Glasgow. So I invite you to really just let those words sink in as we listen to today's talk and to the announcements. Also, I encourage you to follow us on our Facebook page. There we share inspirational quotes, and we always simply ask that you like and you share and you post a comment with all of our posts. Also, if you're watching us on YouTube, I encourage you to subscribe, click the notification bell so you stay informed, and to post a comment. So it's because we want to hear from you. So I invite you to relax, take a deep breath, get settled in as I pass the mic over to our fabulous, radiant Reverend Rosedale Jones.
Oh, wow. Thank you, Alan, my right-hand man. Always thinking about everyone and getting everybody in gear. So with that said, welcome to CSL Charlotte. We are the Mind, Body, Spirit Center. And by the way, today our topic is remembrance instead of improvement. You'll see why. See, this is our last week for Black History Month, and we got one more person in the lineup of all the fabulous people we celebrated so far, so stay tuned. So first on our platform is our prayer person who sets the tone for each and every one of our meetings. So here comes my right-hand man again, Alan, to set the tone.
So I invite all of us to close our eyes and to remember the bright light that lives within each and every one of us. Because we are all individualized expressions of that infinite light. We are all like Christmas tree lights hanging around the same Christmas tree in the community of other like-minded lights. So I know that today's message is awesome because it helps us remember that bright light within each and every one of us, and the innocence and the passion and the purpose and that lives within each and every one of us. This is why we are here in this world, to express ourselves, or express our creativity, express our passion and purpose, and to do it with flair and with style. So I am knowing that today's message is inspiring each and every one of us to level up our lives, to take our own passion and purpose up the next notch, knowing that we are all continuing to grow and evolve as we climb up that tree together in divine fellowship. And I'm grateful to be part of this community. We're all here to inspire and to encourage each other in this adventure that we call life. So I release this prayer out into this wonderful world, knowing everything is working in divine and perfect order as we level up together. And so it is.
And so it is. Nice, nice tone setter. You set my tone today. So his prayer actually set the tone for our remembrance instead of improvement. So with that said, next on our platform is Melissa Spiegler, the girl from Tennessee. Now, listen very carefully to Melissa's reading and focus on remembrance instead of instead of improvement. Really, just hear those words, but don't make yourself get all logical about it. Melissa's reading is going to bring you the talk. So listen to the song I Am by Beautiful Chorus along with India Irie. So Melissa, make it do what it do.
Thank you, Reverend Rosedale. And in order for us to remember, we need to take a breath. And our reading this morning is The Breath Before the Becoming by Reverend Rosedale Jones. We are not random beings stumbling through a random universe. We are participants in a living field, a field that responds to us, listens to us, and mirrors the frequency that we carry in our bodies. Science tells us that every cell emits light. Every organ broadcasts a rhythm. The heart sends out an electromagnetic field so strong it could be measured several feet away, which means this: long before you speak, you are already communicating. You are already sending a signal. You are already shaping the space around you. You are already in conversation with a field of intelligence that responds to your vibration, not your vocabulary. So before you hear today's talk, remember, this talk is about something ancient, something our ancestors lived by long before laboratories confirmed it. Your body is not silent. Your energy is not accidental. Your presence is not passive. You are a tuning fork in a responsive universe. And right now, in this moment, you have the power to shift your signal. Take a breath, not just the kind that keeps you alive, but the kind that brings you back to yourself. Feel the inhale, widen the chest. Feel the exhale, soften the belly. Feel the nervous system begin to unclench as the body remembers its original rhythm. With every deep breath, the heart becomes more coherent. The brain becomes more receptive. The field around you becomes more organized. You are literally tuning your instrument. And as you tune, the universe listens. Today's message is not about striving or forcing. It is about remembering. It's remembering that healing is not something that you chase. It is something your body returns to when interference dissolves. Remembering that prosperity is not something you beg for. It's something that flows when your frequency says, I am safe to receive. Remembering that spirit is not distant. Spirit is the only frequency that has never stopped broadcasting through you. So as we prepare to receive this talk, let us clear that static first. Let us soften the places that support us. Let us breathe in a way that tells the field, I am ready. I am open. I am listening, because the field is always listening, not necessarily to your volume, but to your vibration. So today, right now, we choose to vibrate in coherence, in openness, in expectancy. We choose to remember who we are. Let your breath be your signal. Let this moment be your tuning. Let this room become a symphony of aligned beings, ready to hear, ready to feel, and ready to transform. And here's a final quote by Reverend Rosedale. As we breathe, the body opens, the heart softens, and the noise falls away, allowing our oneness with spirit to come forward. And so it is.
Did you hear the words? I am. We'll start with a short centering, and I want you to just relax your eyes and look into your lap and close them if you choose, or just keep the distraction away from them. And now breathe in, like I always start every week, really deep. And when you exhale, let it be really long. See, this song, I Am, is literally designed to tune us up in this consciousness container that we set up so far. See, it aligns us with the breath and the nervous system. Every single breath is a broadcast to the field, whether I'm doing great or I'm in a chaotic state. But that breath can bring it all where it needs to be. So this song also seals into you the truth of who you are, seals it all right into your body. Health and vitality are part of remembrance. Remember what Melissa said in the reading, you return to healing. The body is looking to do that. It's smarter than what we think. We are starting from identity today without effort. So make yourself a match to your I am identity and heal your life. So here, this way, when you think of I am, you can claim something like I am whole, not I hope, not I wish, not I'm trying. If that's good enough for you, it's not going to be good enough for your future. Just I am what? It's the cleanest signal a human can send to the field because remembrance doesn't ask you to improve. It asks you to return to remember. It asks you to return, but not to improve, because improve puts a lot of judgment on you and a lot of chaos. Easy, just return. So deepen your practice for remembrance instead of improvement. And I want to know one more thing. Are you ready to return to remembrance instead of improvement? Well, you know you're at choice. Decide whether you're going to use spiritual practices, decide whether you're not going to do anything at all about it, but it's your choice. So wiggle your fingers and your toes and okay, bring yourself back into your room. Integrate mind, body, and spirit. It's really important to think about that. And then float your eyes around your room and allow something in your space to literally bring you back to the present moment. That's returning to remembrance instead of improvement right now. So what do I want to talk about? Remembrance instead of improvement. Because you can do a lot as far as improve, right? But that is so much work. So I'm going to begin in a way that feels a little different from my usual talks about mind, body, spirit, because it all ends up in manifestation. What I want to talk about in today is simple. Remembrance is something that puts you in the right state to learn your intuition, to learn what's being said to you, and to ease and grace your life. When you're working on getting better and improving and da-da-da, it's not ease. You got your cortisol running and you're in fight or flight. Breathe and let it go. See, improvement is forcing your body to change. Remembrance sends a signal that your body is not mute, I mean, it's not quiet. It is aware. Your body has been trying to talk to you all your life. Remembrance means that your body is not just a random vehicle. Your life is not even random, but you got to sit down and go to your remembrance practice instead of your improvement, right? See, remembrance is intentional, it's intelligent, and it's always signaling you. Remembrance is a constant, breathless conversation with an intelligence that's listening to your energy. Now, the word listening, don't get all logical on me here. The word listening could mean feel, could mean hear, could mean see. So listen to your energy, because that is what the field listens to, not your words. You heard that in the reading. Your vocabulary is not You can say all the beautiful things in the world, but if your body is not feeling it, because it could be going, yeah, right. Get that body right. Those words will flow all over you. So your body's not biologic, not only biological, it's not just physical. It's a unique signal to the quantum field all day long from the day we were born. You came from a baby. Why are you screaming? We were always tuned with this quantum field. Every cell in your body emits a signal. Every organ pulses an electromagnetic rhythm. Your heart emits an electric field measurable. It's really measurable by several feet away from you. Yes, they use these tools, really several away. It's strong. These instruments are strong enough to detect your emotional state without touching you. Science is something else. They know. So you can tell me, oh, it's you, I really care, I really like you. But baby, I've learned how to see your color and all that stuff. Everything changed when you're talking because I'm tuned now. I like it. You need to get tuned too because it'll be good for you. You'll begin to see much more. So here's the thing. Before you even arrive anywhere at a place, you have already spoken because why? That heart magnetic field extends out many, many yards way before you get into the door of some place. See, scientists say that your prayer is answered before it's arrived because your prayer is not from your words. Your prayer is from you feeling blue, you're feeling some kind of way. But whatever way you're feeling, that's the way that universe or that field is going to match you with your manifestation. I can't imagine that you didn't get that. I know you got that, but we got to practice it. Why? Because words are hardly ever true in the signal of your body that your body spins out. When you talk to people, listen to what they're really saying. I call people on what they're saying because it's not my place. People say things, and I'm like, you really don't mean that. But that's okay. Whether you are verbally speaking it or not, the quantum field is always reading your body's signals. The cortisol is making, it's not reading your words. So say what you want to somebody and tell them how great they are and how you plan on doing all these things. But you can say that, but fix your body in tune with it. When you sit and make these beautiful prayers, put your body into that. Instead of saying, oh no, because what happens is you tense up when you don't believe what you just said. Oh my God. Little squint here, little side twitch, the eyes go up. Things happen when people talk to me. And it's very clear that we all need to get this way. We all need to get like this because we can find out ways to talk to people and ways to not be disappointed and ways of being happy because now we know what's really happening. But we got to fix this body first. So practice calming your signal with that breath first. Because see, it relaxes your body before you even utter your prayer. So when I keep saying to people, let's do that breath, let's take this breath. I'm not just saying it because I know what it's doing if you let it, but I know what I'm doing. I'm taking that breath in because it's bringing in my power. And when I let go, it's also bringing my attention to my power. And then when I let go, it's going to free the air and my tension in my body. And then it's going to soften my signal. Now, the field is saying she wants to talk. And the words that I'm saying goes deeper to relax me. Because I know that I know that I know. So your signal is sent, whether you're tensed up or whether your body feels at ease. Quantum physicists call this thing pre-signal coherence. So you get a signal before anything happens, because the quantum field that surrounds you is a unified intelligence. Check that out. It really is. It reads your energy before it hears your words. I got to say that 1,000 times because we need to know that. And what is unified oneness? Well, the second part of the affirmative prayer, unification. I am one with it. Unified oneness, that unified intelligence is, in other words, your oneness with spirit. The field is an invisible mold. And let me tell you about that mold in this. It's loyal and it's responsive to your signal. It's not judging you, not by any stretch of the imagination. It's not going to reward you or punish you. Nope, not going to happen. You're the one who does that. So when you say things like, oh, they just don't take me seriously, or they just don't, honey, listen, they don't care about what you got going on in your mind. You just beating up your mind about what they're doing. They could care less. It's nothing punishing you, but you. It's simply matching your body signal of how low you feel because nobody likes you. Or if you're feeling like everybody likes you, that's a better place to be. Let's put it that way, because now that signal is giving you any and everything. That's why feeling is the language of the field. Emotion is energy in motion. You can have quiet energy too, but that energy in motion, the emotion, you can be excited with that energy, or you can be sad or bitter or angry, but it's in motion, it's moving. How your body feels is the signal for you. When I woke up last night, I felt a little scratch here and a little nosy, a little nose. No, I'm not going to let you go down 2 more days with this. So we're going to do something right now. I'm going to either gargle, I'm going to do my xylitol or something, because it's telling me the first minute we have to get very tuned into the body. I'm so tuned into my body now, and I love it. You can say I'm healed with your mouth, but if your nervous system is signaling fear, or you always get sick around this time of year, and you're putting it in your body. So it's going to match that. The field matches what you feel. I like that. The field matches what you feel. You can say, I am prosperous with your lips, but your body, if it's tight and you're feeling scarcity because you never have gotten to a certain point yet, remember, if you want to become something you've never been, if you want something you've never had, you have to become the person you've never been, so it could become your match. The field is going to match you to who you are, not who you want to be, who you are. The body can't lie. It responds to whatever the mind feels. It reveals what the mind has rehearsed for years. And this is why the breath is sacred technology. Sacred technology. Listen to me. I'm using these words because it means something to somebody. The breath is becoming sacred technology because that's the way spirit expresses our signal through our body. Or that technology is the way we get to see each other online. So I like to use sacred technology for the breath. We got this technology, right? We got our computers, we got our phones. The breath is sacred technology. Let's keep it like that. It's the fastest way to shift your signal. You got cortisol running through you, breathe. When your breath is shallow, survival chemistry comes. You're in fight or flight. It is all in your bloodstream. All the cortisol is sending right through you. The field, sees, hears, whatever you want to call it, that tensity signal. And when cortisol rises, the heart rhythms become chaotic. And so the heart, it's it all out. It sends out those fields, those signals out to the field, and there you are. Your signal becomes fragmented, whatever that word, fragmented and static on the line. Okay. I can't hear you. I don't understand that. It's confusing. That's you all day, 24/7 with the field. Not that you're chaotic every 24, but it's whatever's going on. It's that constant, breathless conversation. That is what we're talking about when we talk about remembrance. But when the breath deepens, the field detects a little different shift, like a calmness in you. The heart's electromagnetic field now is beginning to get more coherent because the blood pressure, the heart rate, and all the things are getting ready to let go. The brain waves start shifting. Now, I don't know if I should say these two words, but alpha is the beginning, the act, but we're in alpha somewhat right now. We're not fully in alpha because we're focused on this talk. I can feel our energy. Believe me, I can. But the theta state is the one that when we're going into our meditation, that's why, guys, you don't like meditating. You think it's like a chore. But anything you run from, anything you call a chore, you're never going to master it, right? And it's not nice to say that, but it's the truth. So in that theta state that we go from the alpha, because of the brain waves are going to do that. So when we go from the alpha to the theta, we begin to associate ourselves with our intuition, creative, and we can become creative. We can get a lot of healing. So when we talk and when we get together at our class on Mondays, we have to build our wherewithal, patience, whatever it requires for us to understand that this entire system in us is beginning to broadcast a unified signal, not seal. The breath is not just keeping you alive. That's not all it does, because a shallow breathing means nothing for you. But the breath is actually doing, when you actually take it right from the diaphragm, it's tuning your transmission. It's the dimmer switch. You got one of those in the house, you dim that switch for your electromagnetic field of your heart, or your brain waves center you. So here's the thing. Healing is often a thing misunderstood as something that we have to force the body to be. Now your cortisol is going crazy. That's not healing the way you think you should heal. But healing is actually what the body's always trying to do. Once you remove that conflict, there's a conflict of interest, if you will. The body is biased toward restoration. Totally. All I want is to restore this body. All I want to do is restore you. But you keep throwing all this chronic stress up. You keep throwing all these fear signals, because these fear signals that you're throwing at me is distorting the broadcast you're trying to give me. And I want to give you your health. The body is biased toward restoration. Good. That's what I meant when I said that. That's when I said, whoa, we got to go there. Because when that distortion is sustained, the field just mirrors exactly what we have. If it's disorder, it's going to mirror it back to us. If it's peace and laughy and happy, it's going to mirror it back to us, because it's going to come right back into our physical experience. The body sends feedback. Illness is not punishing you. It's not your failure. It's not a moral verdict that you are so wrong or right. You just sending this feedback. If the body's saying, let's put it this way. If the body's saying this, I am healthy, then you're getting it when you say it. So I'm not going to go back again on that one. You know what I'm trying to say, because it has to be said more than once. It needs us to help it. The body needs us to help it restore its rhythm. Healing is less about fighting a disease and more about actually restoring our rhythm. Get that part. See, I have evolved another level a couple of weeks ago or months ago or whatever. But this week I realized it. See, I don't realize it back then what I did. But a couple of years ago, I started taking B12 under my tongue for the nervous system, because they say the doctors tell people, oh, here, take these because you have depression or whatever they call anxiety. I said, I'm not going with this one, because they kept saying, well, your blood pressure a couple of years ago, your blood pressure. And so I started going, no, I can't go with anxiety pills. No, we're not doing that. So I started taking in the B12. Now, the doctor said they poo-poo it when you talk about vitamins. They don't want to hear that. But I don't care what they say, because I'm going to do what I'm going to do. So I bought a bottle of B12 lozenges. They go right under my tongue. The research says that it goes right through the brain barrier. So I said, all right, we're going to do that. I started doing that. But not because anything was wrong. I just said, I want to support my nervous system my own way. So I'm now syncing the connection between my mind, body, spirit, and my field, because I always put that under my tongue. Well, some days I forget, but for the most part, I do. One day out of nowhere, back then, something came to me and said, oh, because the doctor said B12 can be toxic, so be careful. And he also said that D3 can be careful, but I'm still doing all of that. But anyway, it stuck with me. See, sometimes when you hear something too much, you're going to come back to it. So I said, this ridiculous thought. I said, B12 is toxic, because I heard it somewhere, obviously. And so that's the untrained part of my mind speaking. So B12, and here's the truth about B12, because I went back and said, you know what, I'm going to find out the real definition so I can drop that doctor's idea. So then I got a good sentence in my mind, and it said something like, B12 is really water, a really, really water soluble thing. And all it does is it takes what you need and it sends the rest out through your urine. I'm just keeping it real. See, once you hear that word, what is it really? Take that doggone thing, because it's going to give you just what you need, and it's going to let you go. And my E has all of the vitamin E, and they're separate. They got a certain amount of milligrams, because I know what I need, because I'm basically doing the research on it. So basically, don't let those little things get to you. He hooked that into my mind, because he mentioned to me, yeah, well, people are taking all this medication, but he'd rather me take synthetic stuff. So there's nothing to worry about. That's just my mind. So I went back to Remembrance and I got the truth. Do your research. That's all I'm trying to say. That's my thing. There were never any symptoms in my body, no signals that something was wrong, just a fear thought that I heard. Thoughts are going to continue to run around because they're free. They just go everywhere. But if you sit there and go down that road with them, then you got to come and bring it back. You got to take that breath and bring all and let it go. But see, that one thought kept talking to me, and I still said, I hear you, but I don't want to hear that. I'm not dealing with it. Because when the mind is dysregulated, it can create a whole a long narrative. It has no evidence whatsoever that B12 is toxic, in my case this time. It's no truth to what it was saying. It was wrong. So healing is a form of what? Remembrance. Remembrance, to return the mind and body back to work together. That's what we want. We want them back on their natural rhythm, not separate, one, and calming the fear between the two. So here I am. I'm still taking my B12 after all these years and still doing the bridges that I do to keep the body lifted. I'm still lifting weights. I'm moving. And sometimes I get the little shake in my muscles. And you know what? When I figured that out too in the research, it's just my muscles firing and stabilizing the way they're supposed to. Remembrance brings my mind and body back to trust each other, and so can yours. So when I think about how the mind and body thinks about it, and plus being this Black History Month, Timmy P, he's going to come up with a person who is going to share his true visionary stuff. And I know for a fact, because I lived in New York at the time and nobody wanted to hear it, but I want to speak this man's name. And his name is Reverend Ike. And he was tuning into the quantum field long before the upper echelon of our movement was even willing to give him a seat at the table. And I'm telling you, I remember I was a very young girl. He was 6 blocks away from me, and that church, what I thought was a church, but it was a Science of Mind community, but I didn't know that. So he lived, Reverend Ike, he lived in remembrance his entire journey. When I think back on him, he understood the science long before it was fashionable, acceptable, or welcome. So I want to keep talking about it because I'm good. I know I'm welcome to it. And if anybody doesn't like it, then there's just not my people to be talking to. But he knew the field responded to his signal and not to anyone's permission. So everybody's permission does not have to work with mine. And here's the thing I want to say about this man before I give it to Timmy P. The world cannot stop your frequency if you are dialed into your oneness with spirit. And that was Reverend Ike. So let's bring up Timmy P as he presents Reverend Ike to us.
It is my pleasure to share some information about Reverend Ike. When I was thinking about covering for Brother Horace today, I wanted to find someone that was in alignment with some of our recent talks. And so Reverend Ike is definitely that. So his full name is Frederick J. Iker Cotter II. He was a junior. And so my presentation is a Black metaphysical pioneer who embodied prosperity consciousness. Reverend Ike was born in Ridgeland, South Carolina. It was a segregated town where limitation was taught as normal and opportunity was rationed out by race. His father was a Baptist minister. His mother was a school teacher. So from his earliest days, he was living inside two powerful worlds, that of the spoken word with his father's influence and the educated mind through his mother's influence. He began preaching as a teenager and later served as an assistant pastor at Bible Way Church in Ridgeland. After serving as a chaplain in the U.S. Air Force, he founded several churches, first in South Carolina, then Boston, before eventually moving to New York City. Even in his early years, he was fascinated with the mind, imagination, and the metaphysical principles behind transformation. The catalyst for him was breaking through poverty mindset. He believed that traditional religion often taught people that we had to wait for God to bless us, that God was far out from us, judging us, and he wanted to change that whole mindset. He learned that metaphysics taught us that God works through consciousness. He saw that we were inheriting a psychology of limitation and through generational messages that told us don't expect too much, be grateful for what we have, and hang our hat on hope for a future world. He recognized this as form of collective trauma and a memory of lack. So that's our tie-in to remembrance that we're talking about today. He made it his mission to break those mental chains. He became famous for saying, "You can't lose with the stuff I use." That wasn't just a slogan, it was part of a metaphysical revolution for him. He says here that God has given man the power to create his experience by means of his imagination. Therefore, whatever he can see himself being, doing, and having in his imagination, he can be, do, and have in his experience. So this is reinforcing what Reverend Rose is telling us about the field matching our vibration and who we have trained ourselves to be. Reverend Rosa just talked about the center that he founded. In 1969, he purchased the historic Lowe's Wonder Theater in New York City. He transformed it into what he called the United Palace that became his spiritual home base, a metaphysical teaching center, and a community hub. And it was visually stunning. His church seated over 3,000 people, and he had it decorated and designed to make people feel rich, worthy, and elevated when they walked in. He believed that the environment shapes our consciousness and wanted people to experience spiritual luxury. The palace stands today functioning as a united center and a major arts venue. He was a pioneer in radio and television evangelism. At one point, he was broadcast in over 1,700 radio stations and reached listeners, 2.5 listeners each week. As Reverend Rosedale said, he was connected to the early New Thought movement. He kind of predated it. It said that he really didn't do too much collaboration with people because he was on that bleeding edge of the New Thought movement before it became mainstream. So here are some things that were part of his core teachings. He taught that principles sound exactly like what we've been exploring over the past few weeks. Thought is causative, that our mind is the creative inner engine of our lives. Feeling is the magic, that we don't get what we want, we get what we embody. Imagination is creative. We can't see it inside. You can't, if you can't see it inside, you can't hold it on the outside, he taught. Prosperity is a spiritual practice. He said it's not about materialism, but the recognition that abundance is our birthright. And then the embodiment in prayer. He says that the field responds to who we are, not just what we say. He said, this is not about us begging God for help because God is already in us and is already part of our unlimited supply. This was part of quantum metaphysics that he was teaching before quantum became mainstream. In our connection to our recent themes over the past month, he taught that we are definitely not broken, lacking, and not in need of fixing. We simply need to remember our divine identity, our worthiness, our creative power, and our ability to shape reality through consciousness. Improvement implies deficiency. Remembrance restores divinity. So there's nothing wrong. We're just going back to that perfect state. Some of us that came from traditional Christian, we were taught that God is omnipresent, omniscient, omnipotent, and omnipresent. And so we're just going back and remembering that is who God is and exactly who we are in alignment with Spirit. So Reverend Ike was not just a historical figure, but a metaphysical pioneer who dared to teach that prosperity, dignity, and spiritual power belongs to everyone. His life invites us to embody the truth of who we are so that the field can match our essence. And then I looked up a few of the affirmations that he reminded his congregation of throughout the week. So I want to leave you with maybe 4 or 5 of these. I remember who I am, a divine idea in expression. As relates to worthiness, I am worthy of good simply because I exist. On prosperity, I am rich in ideas, rich in creativity, rich in consciousness. On remembrance, I do not improve myself, I remember myself. So may we remember our power, may we remember our divinity, and may we remember that consciousness, not circumstance, is the creative force in our lives. So I want to thank Reverend Ike for his contribution and blessing us with our Black History Spotlight today. So I return the platform back to Reverend Rosedale in Charlotte.
Jimmy P, thank you. But I did not know that you were going to have my exact talk. It's like max. Just remembrance. I don't know. Everything we do in this community, everything we do, because that means that this community, I can't say it enough. I can't say enough how connected we are. People think, oh, I'm in Texas, oh, I'm over here. but baby, it doesn't matter. When we think of remembrance instead of improvement, we could do better. Because what did he say? Reverend Ike said about remember, everything I believe, he believed before me, of course. But the point is, I love it. So your body is the instrument. Your breath is the tuning mechanism. Our breath is a miracle. And you know what? I'm going to say this again. Our breath is not just biology, it's communion. Every inhale regulates the body, every exhale clears the static. Just got to love this thing. See, Timmy P, thank you. That was like, what? Yes, Rosedale, you got it. You understood years ago. You understood the assignment, Rosedale. All you're doing is taking after some of these pioneers that did this, and you're just doing your piece. Somebody's going to come behind you, and they're going to do you. They're going to do them. Beautiful. Every breath invites us back into this sacred rhythm that we have. It's truly a miracle that we can breathe. And I'm telling you this for a reason, because we're getting ready. Okay. And every time you inhale, let me just say this again, the power within you returns. You just have to trust me on this because it's doing it for me in my life. Every time you exhale, the noise. So even if you don't get anything right now, take a breath. Because see, when I breathe, I restore my rhythm and I reclaim my signal. And see, I also feel it every time I take a breath. What about you? There is strength that doesn't come from muscles with that breath. Your job or your bank account, there's a lot of strength. So it comes from the frequency of the breath, the strength. So no begging, no beseeching, knowing that all I got to do is fall in line and I could do this. So now listen to this song, Breathe by Maverick City Music. You know, oh my God, it is a miracle that we can breathe. And he kept saying, praise the Lord. That's okay. Because I kept saying, I'm so grateful that I have this oneness with spirit because it is responsible. It breathes me. I don't just praise the air. I don't just praise my lungs. I don't just even praise anything, but I praise my oneness with spirit because that's what makes breath possible, really, for us. But I praise the intelligence that breathes us even when we sleep. Ooh. And how about every time your chest rises, spirit is saying, I'm here with you, babe. You are my broadcast. You are the music. What about that? And that's what makes it so powerful that we can breathe. It's a miracle. So the breath, don't, what is that word? Don't take it too lightly. It's powerful. Thank you so much, Timmy P, on so many levels. Oh boy, that explanation about a sandbox for consciousness meeting was just cool. And yeah. So anyway, just to piggyback on Alan, when you give, you got to understand what you're doing. You are literally making an investment in consciousness. I like the exchange that Timmy P talks about when you exchange funds. You're not giving anything to anybody. You just exchange. You know, what is that word? Fair is not highway robbery. Fair exchange is no highway robbery. So you aren't just making a donation, you are investing in a consciousness. And I'm telling you, this consciousness has the power to change the world, but that's okay. You are fueling what awakens people in the remembrance instead of improving themselves and to the truth of who we are. That's the truth of who we are. We just need to remember that. I'm not just speaking to you like I'm not a book, what do you call it? A textbook necessary person. I'm a experiential person. I've seen this power transform my life, and I have had a ton of healings from my body to my life, to my happiness, to my family. Everything. Our investments that we put back in CSL Charlotte, they are just that signal that the universe reads for me to give me that more power. They keep remembrance open for me and everybody who finds us. So when you soften your guard and let your resources circulate, you begin to feel that same flow moving in your life. As you align your giving with this flow, it will change, heal, and you prosper right with it. Oh, indeed. So let me just ask you this. Are you ready to energize CSL Charlotte's mission of moving souls to remembrance instead of improvement? Once you can decide whether you can do that, you're on it, baby. So before our last song, I want you to consider this. We've traveled far together today. We looked at remembrance instead of improvement. We looked at that. And when I say I don't worry about a thing, I mean it. I look into that when I think about remembrance, because every little thing's going to be all right. So I'm not ignoring life when I say that. What I'm doing is I'm turning down the noise when I say don't worry, don't worry. I'm turning down the noise of anxiety so I can hear the signal of my oneness with spirit. So I'm reminding us that this next song is to turn it down and let your frequency be turned to trust. To every little thing is going to be all right. So your relationship with you harmonizes with remembrance, and that every little thing. You're going to remember that. Listen to the song, The Three Little Birds by Bob Marley. Marley, he was a metaphysician in his singing world. He said, he said, the three birds said, this is my message to you, who, don't worry about a thing. Everything is going to be all right. And the quantum field is out there saying, don't worry, just breathe, because it's right here in your living room, in your kitchen, and your heart, right in your midst. You are part. So, Alan, are you ready to pray us out?
Wow. So I know right here, right now, there's this divine life that lives within each and every one of us, as the air in our lungs, as the air we breathe, as the birds chirping in the air. And I know that life is living within each and every one of us. So I am knowing that everything works perfectly because there's nothing to fix. Everything, we are simply remembering our wholeness and where we come from and who we are. That's all. So I am knowing that this week we are all inspired to take this message and to apply it in our lives, to wake up tomorrow morning before we go to work, to remember that we are whole and perfect just the way that we are. And don't worry about a thing, because everything is going to be all right. And to broadcast that as we smile, as we walk into the doors of our employer, and to be the smiles in our workplace on tomorrow morning, on Monday. So I am knowing that I'm thankful to be part of this community. We're all here to encourage each other, to uplift each other, and to support each other. And I know that this message today inspires you as well and uplifts you. So I release these words out into this wonderful world, into this wonderful life, knowing that everything flows in divine prosperity and abundance for all of us in every way possible. And so it is.
Mm-hmm. And so it is. That's true. Don't worry about a thing. Remember the first song, I Am. Remember what you say afterwards. And remember the second song, Breathe. It's a miracle that we can breathe, right? And then the last song, This is my message to you. Don't worry about a thing, because everything's going to be all right. So let's wrap up this time together in remembrance instead of improvement for the rest of the week. Use this and so that you can see who are you becoming every moment of your day. Are you becoming that sad person? Are you becoming that sick person? Or are you becoming that prosperous person? You send that signal and receive it. Keep remembrance so you can let go of the memories that no longer serve you, because those memories are not here for you today. You are one of the most important people in your life. Act like it. Remember, the universe is always supporting you on your journey. So until we meet again, keep using that idea, remembrance instead of improvement. See you on the other side. And so it is.